This week, we are talking about setting goals or targets, the relevance, the importance of it, and the attainment. So all three of us have something to contribute to the conversation that makes it a little bit different for each of us. And I think the number one thing is the relevance for me, because I have been just a solopreneur who's just done a bunch of stuff without it before, and now I'm seeing the importance of it. So my name is Guillory. We have Emily and Malerie. So I'm going to start off with just talking about what I see as the importance of it, and then each of you will contribute in your way. Does that sound good, or do you want to go first? Me. All right. So what has happened the last 28 years compared to, well, maybe I should say the first 20 years compared to the last 5 years has really made a big difference. When I first started off in business, my goal or my target was to get away from my kids and have money to entertain them and myself. But it was a target. It was a goal. You could say it's an intention. And so I went to beauty school, and then I started doing hair and nails, right? But even before that, I was selling Avon to pay the babysitter. I was paying her with Avon lotions and whatever it is that she wanted, just to have free time. And that was a goal, right? I was able to attain it. And then I started really understanding business. And the end of that first year selling Avon, I made President's Club. Yeah, which means for the next year, I got 40% off of a 40% earning off of everything I sold, locked in. I didn't have to meet a quota, right? I didn't have to meet a target. And so the reason I'm mentioning that is I wouldn't have gotten to that point if there wouldn't have been a target and an incentive. And that's where it really kind of started to understand. The next thing was I opened a nail and tan salon. My target or my goal was to pay my note. It was to not go broke or to not go bankrupt or to not owe. It was that was it. I really did not see further than that. It cost me this much money for the tanning bed. It cost me this much for the building, for the plumber, and so that was the target. That was the goal. And then when I opened my fitness center, I remember the exercise equipment. It was like $65,000. And I remember thinking, as long as I can get this paid off, then I will be able to use it for myself. That's a goal. That was a target. Little did I know, that's exactly what I got. Matter of fact, we actually just threw the equipment. We tried selling it on Facebook. It's too much trouble to sell stuff. We just brought it to the dump and threw it. But I did. I met that. And so now I think way differently. So let's just get some feedback from both of you. What do you feel about it? I'm thinking of Emily, her word this year is discipline. It's discipline. That's how I used to think about goals and targets. So not fun. You got to be serious and got to do all kind of stuff you don't want to do. That's how I used to believe in it. So let's get some, Emily, what is it to you? And if you can contribute to the conversation of an important aspect of how you get it to work for you, because you kind of have that.
Yeah, it's funny because when you say goals and targets, I don't like the word targets. I'm ugh. It's because it's if you don't reach this target, then something. A goal is well, it was my goal, but it's a dream or a wish. And so I'm noticing right now, even using those two words, it's interesting. So yeah, I chose discipline this year because over the past month or two, I've kept noticing where discipline would actually be a gift to me in my life and in our transition in our family life. But I've always been very visually inspired. And so when I would see things I wanted, I would be oh, and I would feel this yes in my body. And I'm I want that. And I would somehow figure out how to get there. And so, like you said, the beginning, in my teenage years and my early working years, I didn't know how to set a goal or a target and then work towards it. I was just kind of getting by. And I would have these dreams and visions, and I would create my vision boards, and I would write in my journal, and, I'd write letters to myself. And I did all of these sort of like manifesting tools to do things, but I never got taught how to actually make something happen until I got into corporate in IT and HR. And that was, if you're part of a team of a large corporation, you have to meet targets, and you have to have measurable goals and attainable metrics and all of these words. And I didn't like it, and I would do it to keep my job, but I still, like, if you don't have that compelling why of like why to do these things, it's really hard to work in a job when you're just doing these daily tasks to meet these goals for the corporation. And, it wasn't until I started to really feel inspired, like, oh, if we meet these goals, then we can all get new computers, or we can have a really nice holiday party. Like, I started to see the connection, like, oh, we have to meet our targets so we don't all get laid off. Like, as a whole, we need to work together. And I wasn't in the sales team, so I had to support sales. I had to connect my why of HR and IT support to, I need to make sure these salespeople have everything they need so they can go make some money so I can keep my HR job. So I started to feel that urgency. It just wasn't the right work for me to really be long-term. So now, working with this team, it's so much nicer to have actionable goals and like a super compelling why, and work that really, really matters to me. It helps me get those daily tasks done, even if I don't like them, because I have such a big goal, such a big why, that it is motivating. I was going to say, in 2020, when I was struggling as a stay-at-home mom, wanting to be a successful 6-figure coach, I had my training, and I was down here and my goal was like way up here. I was like, what the hell am I doing? On my vision board in 2020 was a picture of Kim and Malerie, because I wanted to work with them. I was like, I want to be a team. I didn't know how, I didn't know what that would look like. And it happened. Now that part of my vision board, my business goal, my working goal, that happened. I did not know how or why how it would come about, but it happened. I have to put things in visual form to remind myself why, and I have to write my goals down. I have to feel that compelling why in order to make it happen. I don't just make things happen with force. I have to feel good about it, or it's probably not going to happen, honestly.
Yeah. So what is your, like, now that you've got this understanding, how important or how relevant is it to set goals or targets or whatever it is compared to before?
I now see that it is very important to set a goal that is actually attainable, something that it stretches you out of your comfort zone, that pushes you. Because if you don't, then you keep repeating the life that you already have. Like, you look back at the last year and you're like, oh, I have the same resolutions: lose 30 pounds, stop drinking, work out every day. Like, we have these goals that we think we should have. Like, everyone needs to lose weight for their New Year's resolution. But if you don't really know why you want that or whatever, like, why do you want to be a 6-figure coach? What does that even mean? You have to really understand why you're setting those goals. And that is I think the biggest difference is going like way down deep within to figure that out, so that the work comes out of you more naturally.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. What about you, Malerie? What is it, like, the relevance, the importance, did you have like I definitely had a pressure around it. Like, I didn't want to set a big target or a big goal because I didn't want to be disappointed.
Now I know that I pretty much can't do anything without having a goal or an intention for it first, because that's how I direct where I'm, what's the next step. I don't have a next step if I don't know where I'm going. And so much of what Emily just said resonated with me, because that's how I was thinking about things too. Growing up, like I didn't grow up having goals and understanding what goals were and why we needed to set goals and what that meant. I literally just took the one next step every day. Like I listened to the teachers and did what the teachers told me to do. And then I got to the end of high school and I had started going to college. And it wasn't until then that someone said, you have to choose a major. Like I went the first 2 years of college and they were like, you can't go anymore until you pick where you're going to go. Cause you've done all the basic stuff. Now you got to pick. And that was the beginning of, well, I don't know. What do I want? Like I had never thought about it in a deep enough aspect of what do I want? So I picked something that turns out to not so much be in alignment. There was parts of it that I do like, but I'm obviously not doing that anymore. Like I went to school for a very long time, have a doctorate degree, and that's not what I'm doing. So the importance of not only setting the goal, but of knowing why you're setting that goal in the first place is huge. And the whole idea of like, yes, then I learned about like setting, it wasn't until after all that, like I had the job, I had the kids, I had the house, the marriage, everything. It wasn't until then that I was like, what else is there in life? Oh, here, enter goal setting and the SMART goals and actionable and attainable, like all these words. So that's whenever I got into the personal development world and realized that my whole life before this, I just wasn't awake. I wasn't aware. I was just taking the next step, doing what I was expected to do. And then it's like, oh, now there's this whole other world of personal development. And then came into Kim's world. It's like, oh, there's this whole world of like this consciousness that literally it's like it broke my brain. Like I didn't know that there was so much more. It's like there was a whole other universe available that wasn't before. So yeah, we can have these goals, but having and choosing the right goal and then having a way to measure your progress toward that goal, and then having a plan and a calendar, like for me, mapped out of when things are going to happen and how you're going to make that happen. That's how I can get there. If I don't have those things, I won't get to the goal.
Because we leave it up to our mind, mm-hmm. which is not going to go in the direction it's not going to tell us what's possible. It's going to tell us that it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not writing it down, when we're working with massage therapists, they're just basically just winging it every week. And then when they come into e-school and it's like, okay, let's see, where are you? What did you make last year? They're like, what? Huh? Like what? And it's scary, and it will break your brain, and you don't want to do it. And the only reason we would not want to do it is because we don't believe it's possible. And so then we set the goal too low. So if we 10x the goal, if we multiplied the goal, then like the journey to get there, we have an understanding that we're going to have to push through some things. So even though we don't get that exact number, 10xing it's like the idea of 10xing is like it's putting that much more action into it, and then the goals will naturally be attained and reached at the level. But I'm thinking about like just all of my business ventures. I had multiple locations, and it was all by chance. Everything I had ever done until I stepped into this new entrepreneurial world, like the first 10 years, everything I'd done was just gut-led, soul-led, like a voice in my head, a calling in my body, then in my spirit. That's like, it was the problem to solve. It was the thing that I needed to do. And seemed like it was really easy when I was ignorant. It just naturally came. And I think it's because my intention was so clear. I knew exactly what the problem was. I knew what the intent, and then I reached this point of success, and then my mind tries to figure out how to go do that again. And that's where things started getting really messy. So I do actually think it's very important now, but this has not been easy for me or an organization, because it's not natural. It is a muscle that I have had to grow. Like I would do live events for people to have experiences, not this is how many people we're going to get in. This is how many people are going to do this. This is what's going to happen. Like it was not like that at all. Now I see what a mess that has created by not having it. And I remember doing an essential oil meeting, and it was like, I just wanted to teach people how to use essential oils. And we had 60 something people. I think it was 66 or 68 people who showed up. I didn't even sell anything. I didn't have a target. I didn't have a goal. My intention was to teach people how to use oil. So that's what I did. And afterwards they were like, so how do I get these? It's like, oh, that's starting to make sense. So for those of you who are spirituals, who are winging it and who are just following that, if you truly want something that is sustainable, that is attainable, and that contributes and makes impact, goals and targets are very important. And so I'm just going to give a takeaway of what helps me stick to them. And then Emily and Malerie can contribute on what that is for you. So in my case, through my experience and what I have learned, I've just like, I have to make them non-negotiable. That's just it. Like I have to trust that I made the decision with a sound mind. And I can't negotiate it, because when I negotiate it is when the chaos and the conflict and the mess happens. And so I think it's like what you were saying earlier, if I'm just really clean about what it is. So if we want to help 100 healing focused entrepreneurs or 1,000 healing focused entrepreneurs make their first $50,000 or their first $100,000, we know where we're going as a company. But if we just want to help healers or practitioners or coaches make more money, can you feel the difference? Like eSchool helps 1,000 healing focused entrepreneurs. And it's a variety, right? It's the massage therapist. It's the physical therapist who became the client advocate. It's the chiropractor. It's the person that has a craft and a service that has no business training. We help 1,000 of those reach $100,000 a year. But can you feel the difference between 100 and 50? And then like how clear and different that was? That's the important. So for me, it's setting it with intention and then not negotiating with myself. What about you? What do you do to?
Me? I have really shifted from setting goals and targets on a timeline to having a goal or an intention and then going backwards and looking at what will I have to do to get that, and then focus on the actions as my daily goals instead of being like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds next year by this time next year. That constricts my freedom. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. And I don't do it. Whereas like, I want to eat this plan every single day. Then I have like an immediate action to take, and that's the goal. But I know if I keep taking those daily actions, I will reach the goal at some point, and I can't rush the timeline. So for business, like I want to make $100,000 in my business. I'm going to leave off the in 12 months because I don't know what timing is going to be. But if I want to make $100,000, how many clients do I need to get? How many, like I can break it down that way and then focus on, okay, that means I need to do how many webinars and have how many people in my email list. Then I can look at those targets as more attainable and reachable than I have to have $100,000 by next year, because then our brain goes to, or else I'm a failure and I don't need to be in coaching. Like our brain adds on these like qualifiers and we don't catch those. So I've started leaving off the timeline and allowing the how to show up. And I always talk about using the visuals, creating vision boards, keeping, on my phone, I have my word of the year discipline on there. Like I'm being more cognizant of everything that I want every single day, and having my husband to remind me, even though I don't like it. He's like, discipline. I'm like, shut up. But having the people around you to support you is crucial, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely need to have the visuals too. Like right in front of me, I have my 2023 goals and habits list. Right to the side of me, I have my calendar for the year where I'm mapping out all the events that we're hosting, all of the launches that we're planning, because I need to know like where that's going to fit in. And then I have like my list of how much money I'm actually making. Like every time I get paid, it goes on a different calendar. And then when we break down what is the goal and what are the action steps to get there, I literally put them on my calendar. And if I don't, it's not going to get done. So that's like how you can know if I'm being accountable, is like if we say we're going to do something, and if I don't immediately go put it block off time in my calendar for when I'm going to do that, it's probably not going to get done. So that's my signal. It's just recently that I've been introduced to like the energetic experience of what doing those things feels like. And that's where the manifestation comes in. So that's just in the last couple of months that I'm getting better with actually feeling what it's going to be like when I have that, and then feeling that now. And that's how it's all like magnetized to me. So having that, that practice as well helps a lot.
And with that comes feeling the resistance, and what we resist, we also attract. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so good. So I want to leave this with those of you who have set goals or targets and haven't met them. And then just question yourself, where have I negotiated? Like for myself personally, I have not met Self-Healing Masters targets. I have not met it for eSchool. And actually, I've done I think I'm already, if not very close to how many integrative mind body coaches there are. I think it's really, really close. That just means that I probably set my target too small. That's it. And so it's like, once you see that, then you can assess or tatter. So you try, assess, tweak, try again. And so my question to myself right now is, where did I negotiate? Where didn't I follow through? Where wasn't I consistent in my belief that I can get that many clients in Self-Healing Masters, or where I can get that many clients in eSchool? Because I know for a fact they are the best products that I could possibly produce, which takes it back to, where didn't I believe, or where didn't we as a team have clarity? And we didn't all believe to the 3 levels of belief, right? I think it, I feel it, and then it's visceral and you're actually doing it. So where were we not in that level 3? So for those of you who are questioning, like how to assess, why you aren't, or what you could do different, or what's really happening here. How many years have you wanted to lose the 30 pounds? How many years have you wanted to get the 30 clients? And so it's like, not to beat yourself up, but to recognize what is the habit and behavior, right? What is I love this new word. What is the residual influence? Residual influence means that there is a residual imprint, a residue in your body of old habit and behavior. And that is influence. It's influencing your actions and behavior today. And that's actually preventing you from creating the new. So where is that residual influence? Like where I've stopped before meeting my goals and targets. That's my question to myself. How many years have I stopped before I actually got there? What else did I not complete? What else was I not consistent with? So it's never to blame and like talk down on myself. It's to measure whatever your results are right now. There is a direct correlation to the action you have taken and the belief you were in when you took it, period. So if you want to know what you're thinking, look at your action. Look at your results, because that is what you were thinking. They won't buy it. I haven't figured out how to sell it. They're confused. I'm confused. There's something that created that, and it came from me. It's always my responsibility. So I want to leave everyone with that. Do you guys have any other takeaway, or do you want to add anything about the importance, the relevance of, or maybe something that can help another person make it important?
Putting it on your calendar. Like actually taking the time to say, this is at this time on this day, this is what I'm doing. And I'm doing it because it's going to get me closer to my goal.
Mm-hmm. All right. I would love to hear from the audience. Oh, I saw you unmuted, so I'm going to come back to you. Just if you have any comments, questions, observations about this particular topic, you can do them wherever you're watching this at, or you can come into the More Than Mindset Facebook group, and we have community there and have a conversation about it. So what were you going to say, Emily?
The exact same, just to get support. If you are feeling overwhelmed and like you're spinning and setting goals, or looking back and you are beating yourself up, just come ask for help. Don't be alone in it.
Don't be alone in it. So Emily just did a virtual vision board in Canva. We did it as a group. If you guys want the replay of that, just comment below, put your email, or send one of us a private message and we'll get it to you. And this was the whole point of it, was to get you into that belief space, right? That expansion of what else is possible. And we were all sharing the experience of, we actually have the tangible evidence of what we've put, and we are living it now. And it's not because we knew how. It's because we set the intention, it went into the vortex, and then we just moved into the futuristic aspect of ourselves. So if you want to know more about that, contact Emily. We have some more on the calendar that we can get your names on if you want to come to it live, or you can catch the replays. All right. I think that's it for us. We do this every week. It's called Grow Your Business series. And so you can find us on YouTube, on Facebook, and you can also reach out to us personally. And if you don't know who we are, how to get a hold to us, just come into the More Than Mindset group and type our name in, and we will come up.